Hey, gun people. Well, this is a pretty interesting little case. And at first look, my gut is this is BS and they're using this woman as a scapegoat. So, bar to stop selling alcohol after 2017 mass shooting. If you go back to this other article here, bartender charged with serving intoxicated Plano man who went on mass shooting spree, killing 8 after he was intoxicated. So basically in the article, and I'm going to review quite a few of these little other things, see if I can change your mind on this. This bartender was accused of serving a guy too much alcohol, and because he went and killed 8 people, they charged her with a misdemeanor, facing up $500 a year in jail. Now she's not. Misdemeanors usually like this, nobody really goes to jail. They're not going to put her in jail. It wasn't a violent crime. This is more of an administrative charge. It's kind of BS. She still may get it. If I was her, I'd be like, no, hell no. We're going to jury trial. I want 12 jurors and a judge to see how you're going to tell me as a bartender that I need to know when somebody's drunk and what they're going to do, and I have to believe what they say, and I have to be the eyes of the government, and I have to report everything to the government. If I don't, you're going to charge me? This is tyranny, people. I am so against this call. Now, when I get finished with this video, a lot of you are going to be like, oh, come on, Rick, there was plenty. She was wrong. A lot of you are going to think that she was wrong and should have done more. And I kind of think she could have, maybe would have, could have, should have done more. But if and buts of coconuts, she shouldn't be charged with a crime because she didn't do more. So the gist of this is what they're covering is, should a bartender be held liable because she sold somebody drinks? My argument on this is the slippery slope of government. This is how government gets their octopus, tentacles into everything. And now it's going to be bartenders should know when people are drunk, even though cops don't even know that. Cops can't pull somebody over and go, oh, you know what? By looking at you, I think you're drunk. They have to do tests. There's protocols. And even after the test, they have to make them blow in a breathalyzer before they arrest them to confirm what they believe. Yet they're making bartenders held a higher standard. That's total BS in my book. But anyway, people are going to say I'm anti-government, so I can't see this. But I'm telling you, this comes down to, car dealers should be charged if a guy goes in there and I want to buy a fast car so I can speed and break the law on a highway, and I want a car to go 200 miles an hour. And then that person goes out 200 miles an hour and kills people, and they want to charge the car guy that sold it to him because he should have known not to sell him a car. They want everybody to become a government agent and enforce government rules and regulations because they know they're incompetent as government and they can't do it. So therefore, they want to make other people turn into their snitches and or government agents. This is no different than what happens if I go in and I buy 2 cases of beer. And I'm having a party and everybody only has 2 beers. Okay, I'm okay. But how about if I go buy 2 cases and I drink it all? And then I go kill somebody? Is the convenience store responsible because they sold me 2 cases of beer? Well, Rick, it's different because she's a bartender. She had training. I don't care about her freaking government checkbox to where they go, oh, you're responsible. If you know somebody's drunk, you should cut them off and you should say they can't be drinking. It's a private business conducting business, selling something that's legal, and now they're making them government agents. This case really irritates me, as you can tell. Let's take a look at some of these news reports.
3 victims killed in a mass shooting in Plano are suing the bar they claim overserved the gunman right before the murders. Last September, Plano police say Spencer Height barged into his ex-wife's home on Spring Creek Parkway, armed with a pistol, a knife, and semi-automatic handgun. He killed 8 people and injured 1 before a police officer.
Okay, so all these people who are grieving want blood, so they're going after the bar or the bartender or anybody because they're trying to make sense of something that's not sensible. The guy who shot these people is the one to blame. He is dead now. That's not enough for them. This is the liberal feel good. There's a little too much pink in this video for me that probably a lot of these people voted for freaking Obama and Hillary. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to this.
Shot and killed him. Just before the shooting, police say Height was at the local public house. The victim's family is now suing that bar for negligence for over-serving Height, whose blood alcohol content was 4 times the legal limit.
Okay, so this guy's blood alcohol is, I think, a 3.3, and 0.08 is the legal limit for driving. There's not really a legal limit for drinking. You can be a 0.12 walking. Unless you're a danger to yourself or others, there's no crime. So for the media and the government to put, oh, he is 4 times the limit. Well, 4 times the limit for driving. He wasn't driving when he walked into the house with a gun and shot these people. Well, Rick, he had to drive to get I don't know if he took Uber or drove or called a taxi. I don't know how he got there. Used Star Trek transporter. I don't know. I'm just saying he wasn't driving when he shot these people, and they're trying to make the bar responsible for what he did, and I think it's BS. But let's listen, because I'm going to convince all you to agree with the government at the end of this, even though I'm telling you the whole time I don't agree with them.
Fox 4's Lynn Ann Wynn spoke to one victim's family. Lynn Ann.
Well, Natalie, the families of Daryl Hawkins, Caleb Edwards, and James Dunlap are suing for $1 million for funeral expenses and the loss of
funeral expenses. That I'm so upset that my child's dead, I'm suing for funeral expenses. Does that make any damn sense in anybody's mind? I digress. Go ahead.
their children. But one family we spoke to says it is not about the money, but holding the business accountable.
Sure it's not.
If you see a picture of him,
This guy, Mr. Pink Shirt, he's got the kid with the pink tie. All he does is go around and do his interviews. I'm going to show 4 or 5 clips. He's in every one saying the same thing. Somebody needs to be held accountable. I have to live without my son, blah, blah. He's going to be wanting McDonald's sued because he's overweight. Because that's what liberals do, is they always want to make personal responsibility never the issue. Let's make it the car's fault, the alcohol's fault, the gun's fault, conservatives' fault, Trump's fault, the Russians' fault. That's what liberals do. It's always somebody's fault other than the person who did the act.
smile that he always had. There's never any doubt. If you needed anything, he'd be there. If anything was hurt.
Gunned down in a mass shooting
There's
on
his son with a
September
pink tie.
10th by Spencer Height, whose wedding he served in as best man.
And the saddest thing is the effect he's had on his mother and his brother and sister. That's what hurts me the most, just to look at them.
Hurts me so bad, I'm going to sue for funeral expenses.
Gone.
The lawsuit, filed by Dunlap's parents and other families, shows several warning signs leading up to the shooting, stating Height was stumbling around a Plano bar.
Okay, somebody stumbling in a bar. Crowded, dark, loud music, lots of people. Some bars have smoking, and then you have pool tables, you have lots of chairs. They want to have as many chairs and seats as possible. I've been in a bar and ain't had a drink and stumbled. So because somebody stumbles in a bar doesn't mean you should sue the bar owner for this. But there's other evidence. I'll give them that.
The local public house in the hours beforehand. At one point, he, quote, ran into a large picnic table on the patio, hard enough to move the table. He staggered back inside and again took a seat at the bar. According to the lawsuit, the bartender that night kept serving Height, who at one point pulled out this knife and a pistol. His
Okay, so here's where I got a little bit of a problem. If he's got a pistol, it's still not the bartender's fault to say, I can't refuse you. They can say, you know what? We don't allow guns in here. Guns are not allowed in bars. In Texas, if 51% of your profits are from alcohol sales, and most bars, their profits from alcohol sales. So they have a big sign up front with 51, so you don't bring a gun in there. So he was committing a law. He was trespassing at that point. Maybe they should have asked him to leave. They should not have told him he can't drink and suddenly call the cops because they thought he was drunk. I just don't agree with that. But I know other people are going to disagree with me on this one. I guarantee it.
Behavior so concerning, the bartender, Lindsay Glass, texted another employee, Timothy Banks, for help, saying, "He just keeps saying he has to put someone in his place. I'm trying to keep him here."
Okay, so they're using these text messages against the bartender, and that's why they charged her when they said, you knew he was drunk and you served him. Therefore, we're going to come after you because 7 people are dead. Had 7 people not died, you would be in no trouble and we'd be doing none of this because nobody, no parents would be crying for someone's head. No parents would be suing for funeral expenses and they wouldn't be trying to get money from the bar. So you would get nothing. But fate may have it. You knew the guy. You texted about him. You were friends with him. The bartender actually was supposed to be at the party that he killed everybody. But let's go ahead.
Here, Haidt told Banks he, quote, had something to do tonight. Banks told Haidt he should do those things when he is sober, to which Haidt responded that he couldn't do the things he needs to do tonight without being this intoxicated.
Okay. So the defense is going to imply that you knew he was dangerous at this point because he said he couldn't. And I think the dad or somebody in one of the reports, the alcohol beverage or freaking one of the cops, well, you know what? When he said he needed to do things, he couldn't be drunk. Obviously, she knew he was going to do something bad. You don't know that. I may not want to go out and clean out my horse's stall of horse shit, and I may have a few drinks and go, I got a dirty job to do, and I really don't feel like doing it, and I ain't doing it when I'm sober, but by God, I'm going to have a couple drinks and go do it. I mean, it's just ridiculous that this bartender, I think she's 23 or 27 years old, is being charged with a criminal offense, even though there was a lot of signs, even though maybe kind of woulda, coulda, shoulda called 911. She called her boss, and she called her friends, and she followed him to the resident, and I think she ended up calling 911 at the residence. She's the one that called 911. But there's so many articles that I've watched on this. The amount of information is confusing a little bit because it gets diluted, and I just can't believe they're trying to charge this woman with a freaking crime.
Intoxicated. Banks then called the bar owner because he thought something bad was going to happen and asked if he should call the police. Owens, the bar owner, told Banks not to.
Okay, so the bar owner owns 5 other bars. One of these articles is going to show where the bar owner has cut a deal with the people that give him his beer license that if he shuts down and refuses to renew his license, they will stop the investigation on his bar. And because he doesn't want the investigation to go on his other 5 bars, because he's a businessman, he's not stupid, he knows if the government comes after this bar, they're going to try and connect it to all his other bars. So he agreed to give up his license and the bar shut down. And the parents are cheering. They're happy, but they're not happy enough. They want all his bars shut down. They want everybody shut, because that's what liberals do. When something affects me, I want everyone else to lose it. Okay? Somebody shoots a gun around me, I don't want anybody ever to be able to own a gun again. Somebody hits me in a car, I don't want nobody being able to drive but me. That's what liberals do. This just has liberalism and socialism written. We're looking for the government to say they should have stopped it. And the government's saying we couldn't have stopped it because we had people that we trained and they didn't call us. And had they called us, we would have stopped it and we would have sprung into action and we would have saved the day, which everybody knows that isn't true if you got half a freaking brain. But that's what the government wants to do. So in order to do that, they get crying parents, they get victims, and they run out there and start running. You know what? If we only had more government, if we only had more money, if we only held more people accountable who were out there making a living and working and doing nothing wrong, if we just charged them with crimes because they don't call and rat out and make our jobs easy as government, we'll just charge them with a crime. This is BS.
To call the police.
In my opinion, Spencer was reaching out, almost wanting them to stop him.
Guess what, dude? Nobody cares about your opinion. You are a grieving parent. You wouldn't even be, your opinion wouldn't matter even if your child was alive, just robbed a bank. If you were the dad of the shooter, you'd be out here saying what a good kid he was and how wonderful he was and how he never did anything wrong, and it was someone else's fault that caused him to do what he did. I can tell that because of your pink little shirt.
And they did anything but.
Police say Glass did later follow Haidt to the home and called 911 before leaving.
That's the hardest thing.
So she followed him home because she thought he was too drunk. She wanted to make sure he got there. I don't know why she followed him, and I don't know why she called 911. You notice they didn't really say that. They just kind of threw it in that she followed him and called 911. Well, guess what? What happens when you get involved? You get arrested and charged. She is now charged with a crime, even though she called 911 late and didn't call them earlier. Oh, the more this story raised, I'm just like, are you kidding me?
To get over is why they didn't actually think that they had to take action.
Glass did not return our calls or text messages. Employees at the local public house said they would not be commenting.
Now, this is great the way they slide this in. This happened in 2018. Now, listen to this report. They don't say that, but listen to what she says next.
And according to the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission, the bar has had 5 complaints since 2013.
Wow. 5 complaints in 5 freaking years. Are you kidding me? They're saying this is a big you've got a bar where you serve people alcohol, where people come when they have problems, where people come and they get in fights and they're emotional, and drug is an emotional drug that causes you a depressant. You have 5 complaints in 5 years, and they're saying that this guy should lose his license? Holy cow. If we only had more government and more tax dollars spent on more government, we could fix all this.
With violations found in at least 3 of those cases, including serving an underage.
So 5 complaints, and they only found violations in 3. She made it sound like it was really big. So now we have 3 validated complaints in 5 years.
Person and serving an intoxicated person. As of now, the bar's liquor license is current, and TABC's investigation into the business is still open.
Here's another one.
I was his best man. I had birthday parties at my house for him.
It could have been prevented. No history.
They are suing the bar that they believe overserved the intoxicated gunman and ignored the threats that led to murder. Dan Haggerty, live in Dallas tonight.
Ignored the threats that led to murder. He didn't threaten anybody at the bar. He said, I've got dirty work to do. I got to do it when I'm drunk. That is not a threat.
To explain for us, Dan.
Well, this is the report from the TABC. It is long, it is thorough, it would still be alive if the bar and the bartender would have done things by the law. Before Spencer Height killed 8 of his closest friends, he drank at the Public House bar down the street and left with a near .33 blood alcohol level.
Now, they're saying he left with a .33. I would like to know, if I was a defense attorney, you prove to me that when he left there, he didn't drink anymore. And you prove to me that before he got there, he didn't drink. And then you prove to me that when he drove to where he went, he didn't make any stops whatsoever and had no other alcohol. And all the alcohol in his system was from this bar. You prove that, because you just made a pretty bold statement that his alcohol is connected to this bar, which I think is BS.
And it was an absolute accountability miss on their part.
Oh
Woody Dunlop thinks the workers there could have saved everyone,
of
including
course,
his son, James, after a new report from the TABC describes the hour Height spent in that bar before the massacre.
My son was his best man. I
spent an hour in the bar. An hour.
had birthday parties at my house for him, and I would have never let him go. Not in that state.
The report says that video shows Height stumbling through the bar. One bartender said he showed a gun and sent this text saying that Spencer has a big knife on the bar and is spinning it, and just asked for his tab and said, I have to go do some dirty work.
It puts me right back.
Okay, that text is a little, I don't know if it's incriminating, but she put psycho. Does that mean she knew he was going to kill some? Look, you know how many people come in that are psycho? How many women probably sit at the bar talking about cutting their man's penis off? How many times guys go in there and go, man, I wish somebody put a bullet in my wife's head. She's being I mean, people, when you get alcohol involved and they're BSing, they say things. And, of course, this father in the pink shirt wants everybody to be the police. Everybody that's working and comes in contact with anybody throughout their day should be on the lookout and doing police job and ready to call 911 like the freaking bat phone. Are you kidding me?
And is spinning it and just asked for his tab and said, I have to go do some dirty work.
It puts me right back to that night. What if this? What if that? And when you read the report, it's pretty obvious What if?
Another bartender told investigators that Height told him, "I couldn't do the things I want to do tonight without being intoxicated."
So?
That same worker said he called the owner, who told him not to call police. Shortly after, Spencer Height killed his estranged wife, Woody's son James, and 6 other close friends
Nice
at
try.
a house party less than a mile from the bar.
They didn't have to make a judgment call, in my opinion. They just had to do what was right.
Didn't have to make a judgment call. Do what was right. What was right? Well, in liberals' minds, right is always calling the government, because the government always fixes everything. They never make anything worse, and they're all very competent at their jobs, and no harm can ever come from calling the government. Really?
To get together.
When Spencer Height killed 7 of his wife's closest friends back in 2017, he had a blood alcohol content that was 4 times. He was arrested today, more than a year and a half after that massacre. Jobin Paniker reports.
It was Plano's deadliest shooting. A year and a half ago, this man, Spencer Height, drunk, shot and killed 8 people, including his estranged wife, Meredith Lane, at a Cowboys watch party. Tonight, we learned the woman who served Spencer drinks that night has been arrested. Lindsay Glass worked at the Public House, a nearby bar, now closed. Attorneys Brett Stalkup and Dan Garrigan represent 5 of the 8 victims' families.
More pink.
They are aware of these developments, and the families are too.
It confirms what we have believed all along, that what they did here was just grossly negligent.
A medical examiner says Spencer Height had a blood alcohol level of 0.33.
This guy does not look like he's stumbling. He pulled his knife out and spun it. I agree, it's not freaking, reasonable. Is it a new knife? Is he showing how balanced it is? I mean, this could be put in context. If he was talking to the bartender saying, hey, this knife, check out it. It's balanced. Watch it spin. I just got it. It's really not. I mean, he probably shouldn't pull it out, but should you call the cops? He's sitting up in a chair by himself. It's not like he's slumped over slobbering on himself. Well, I just don't get how, where are they going to get? If a cop walked in, could he arrest him for drunk driving right now? Of course not. He would have to do tests. He would have to see, and then he would ask him to blow to confirm his blood alcohol, yet they're putting a higher standard on an untrained bartender.
4 times the legal limit. Lindsay Glass was charged with violating the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code, a misdemeanor.
Well, there's 2 above her that we feel that are more negligent or criminally.
Of course, there's always somebody above because they'll have more money. See, they're going after the poor little bartender who works on freaking tips, and they know they ain't going to get a bunch of money from her. So they want them to go after, because in a civil case, if you've already been convicted criminally, your civil case is kind of like a done deal. In criminal case, you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt, be of a moral certainty to convict somebody, a much higher standard. So if you get a conviction in a criminal case, your civil case has already been proven. Because in civil, you only need a preponderance of the evidence. You have to tip the scales a little bit in your favor. And if you've already got a criminal conviction, the scales are tipped way in your favor. It's a done deal. That's why they want him to get convicted on the owner, because then he'll be fully culpable.
Responsible than she is.
Brett is talking about the bar's manager and owner. The civil suit against the bar was dropped. This attorney team says it is a temporary strategic move and will follow up with another suit soon. The mother of Meredith Lane tells WFAA to single out this bartender seems unfair.
You know why they dropped the civil suit? It's because they want the conviction on the bar. Because now, once this girl gets convicted, they're going to be able to say the bar negligently hired, negligently trained, and negligently retained an employee who served the person who killed my son. Therefore, they should be liable too. And now they'll have a criminal conviction to say that. That's why they dropped their charge. Freaking Weasley lawyers. But I digress.
Waste of resources and will accomplish nothing. How about focusing on strengthening abused people so they can escape these monsters?
Okay, so this is they're implying that the guy who killed him was an abuser and that the poor victims were trying to get away. Probably doesn't say anything about it could be if this mother was not letting him see his child, was causing to take his home, got him fired, put a restraining order. He lost his right to own a firearm now. He lost his job. It doesn't say any of that. Of course not, Rick. That might make the person, what he did, somehow justified. So we'll just make everyone a victim and blame the poor bartender who's out there trying to work and try to get her convicted of a crime. Outrageous.
The attorneys are now fighting to see evidence in this case, calls on Plano police to offer it up.
And here's where they cut the deal with the alcohol people.
Liquor license is going to expire, and that's going to happen tomorrow. Dan Haggerty live for us at the local public house bar with details. Dan?
That the bar ignored warning signs that night, and a lawsuit by members of the victim's family who blame this bar for what happened. The newly released report from the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission says the owner of the bar agreed to cancel its permit effective August 1st. The bar where Spencer Height drank before driving down the street and ambushing a Cowboys watch party, killing his estranged wife, the best man from his wedding, and 6 other friends.
They should really be suing the Cowboys football team for causing this party to happen. Had it not been for the Cowboys, these people would not have been there. The guy wouldn't have had to drink and wouldn't have had to shoot anybody, and we just have to outlaw football. Yeah, that's it. Freaking liberals.
A TABC investigation into the bar found that Height was highly intoxicated, unsteady on his feet. I couldn't do the things I want to do tonight without being this intoxicated. Then brandished a knife and a gun and just asked for his tab, said his blood alcohol was 0.3. The bar's forfeiting of the license is not an admission of any wrongdoing, but it does close out the administrative case.
Wow, here's what we get into called legal extortion. See, if you force somebody to do something by threatening them, force them to pay you, force them to take action they wouldn't necessarily, and you force them to do that through threats, that's called extortion if you do it for money. And the government does this all the time. So what the government did is said, if you don't renew your license, because then we can sell it to someone else and give another place to slam. That way we can close our administrative case against you. And without the administrative case on this bar, it won't affect your other bars. So we would recommend you close a case. That way we get to close our case. You don't renew your license. Everybody's happy, and we all go on with our happy life because nobody really cares about the victims. This is about government trying to pass blame, who to blame, and the chips fall. When the music stopped on this little concert, the poor little bartender who freaking served the guy alcohol, she was the only one left without a chair. And I think it's BS.
And end the TABC investigation. Criminal investigation into this bar or impact the civil case that is currently pending right now as members of those victims' families still.
And of course, they show another mother who lost somebody cheering because the bar is shut down now. And everyone who worked there who did nothing wrong lost their job. Everyone who went to that bar lost a place to go now. And the mother is cheering now.
Public house bar in Plano.
It's like a daymaker.
Janiyah Hawkins spotted something that put a smile on this grieving mother's face.
It's a start. It's a start of healing.
Hawkins holds the bar partially responsible for the murder of her son, Daryl Hawkins, one of 8 victims killed last year in Plano's deadliest mass shooting.
Doesn't hold the Cowboys responsible. Don't hold the guy that's it's just absolutely ridiculous going after this bartender.
A TABC report claims bartenders here overserved the shooter, Spencer Height, and failed to alert police after he flashed both a big knife
a big knife.
And made ominous warnings that he had dirty work to do.
Dirty work.
I came by every day anticipating and hoping that it would close down, and it has. And it closed down officially on yesterday.
Oh, great. All these other people get to suffer because your child died tragically. Wasn't your fault, wasn't your child's fault, but you want to see other people lose their job and stop, a business from running because it makes you feel better and puts a smile on what do they call a grieving mother's face. What are they suing for? Oh, that's right. Funeral expenses. I got it. And this is where they find out the bar is closing and they talk to parents.
Yeah, people at the home of his estranged wife just down the road. Police killed Height that night, and today the bar accused of overserving him agreed to give up its liquor license.
I saw almost daily him driving in his car and getting out, coming in, see him his mother and I.
Nearly 11 months after the murder of James Dunlop, his father, Woody, says it's no easier living with the loss.
I just, again, rely on my faith. And
Forward, as TABC announced the local public house bar has agreed to cancel its permit effective August 1st.
That they would even still be able to serve alcohol to anybody just never made any sense to me.
A TABC report claims surveillance video that night shows...
Yeah, that anybody could be able to sell something that's legal to anybody that pays. That didn't make sense to him. Wow.
Spencer Height highly intoxicated. Still in bed after Height flashed a knife, big knife on the work.
All the rules that they didn't follow, that they broke, and I think they've, pretty much shown that they don't know how or won't run a bar by the law.
In its settlement with TABC, the bar did not admit to any wrongdoing, but it won't affect the civil suit filed by the Dunlop.
All right. Look, you get the point. I'm sure a lot of you are going to say she had enough signs that she should have done something. The only thing she may have done is not served him a couple drinks. Okay, big deal. Does anybody really think that this guy who is going to take a gun and kill his best man, his ex-wife, everyone at a party, a guy that's going to go do that somehow because this bartender said no to serving him drinks, that this would have been prevented? I say not only no, but hell no. Her serving him drinks did not this dude had evil in his heart. He was going to do evil. He did evil. And blaming a bunch of other people so you feel good and can sue for your funeral expenses just tells me what kind of people you are. But that's me, my opinion. You can argue it out in the comments. We'll end it there.